And are they going to be able to make it to the top of the table as well before we make playoffs?
Well, they're definitely not going to be able to make it to the top of the table. I can tell you that one for free, Mac. As far as what's been going right for them, I mean, it's been a bit up and down, really, hasn't it? Like, we've seen some really good stuff. We've seen when Swaith gets ahead, then the game generally tends to look pretty easy. Kisei had a great start to the split, but maybe has slowed down a little bit. And Boma and Dragku in the bot lane have, again, had their moments, but there's also been times where there hasn't been that really solid impact coming through from the bot lane of Chiefs. So I think for me, it's just a again, a question of consistency, right? They looked like at the start of the split, they were the best team here. Now, they're definitely not looking like the best team here. And for me, I think what this matchup really is about for the Chiefs in particular is just ensuring that they can take that third spot, making sure that they're not going to drop below Direwolves in the playoffs, so that then they obviously have themselves a bit of an easier time when we do get to playoffs. It's not so much about, obviously securing playoffs or whatever. That's already all done. That's fine for the Chiefs. But at least get themselves a bit of momentum going in and make sure they've got themselves a nice spot on that final gauntlet.
Well, I need to ask the question to you, Jubes, as the El Mano jungler here. Swaith, on the Shyvana, was it a mistake yesterday, or was it just sort of one of those matchups where he wasn't able to play it as effectively as it could be?
Oh, I don't think Shyvana's very good at the moment. Takes a lot of time to ramp up.
Hello.
Are you a Shyvana guy, Mac?
I am a Shyvana guy.
I apologise.
It's all right.
Probably get away with it. Probably get away with it in solo queue, if I'm being completely honest. But I think in competitive, it leaves a lot to be desired. You don't really have any agency in the game, and then at level 6, you're kind of hoping the game's in a state where you can actually impact. And even then, it's not easy, but you can play around the dragon form. Like if you disengage that.
Yeah, the main thing is that, when you're playing Shyvana, when you're in Silver, games go for 40 minutes almost every single game. So you have the time to scale and you have the time to build up that crazy one-shot potential. But someone else that's pretty good and pretty crazy is Nat. So let's bring her back into the conversation. How you feeling, Nat? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
I was just checking.
Crazy? No.
Good. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Now, hopefully the players down on the side lanes don't have to deal with your craziness for too long. Can you wrangle that back for us?
I can. I will try and hold back as much crazy as possible, as I am going to be joined by Lived and Thomas Shen. Thank you both so much for joining me. Thomas Shen, I want to start with you. Gravitas, you guys had an amazing performance yesterday. You personally, you got the player that delivered, so I want to know, what did you spend your money on? What food did you get delivered?
I haven't spent any money on the DoorDash vouchers because it's Corona right now, and yeah, probably after COVID settles down, I'll probably order a lot.
All right, I'm looking forward to, hopefully you can keep me updated with what you are going to be spending that money on. But with the win yesterday, I guess you guys really need a win today. Do you think you will get the momentum for the win tonight? And do you think there's extra pressure on you guys?
I think there might be a little bit of pressure because if we lose today, we're kind of out of playoffs. So we really need to beat Chiefs tonight.
Why do you think if you lose today, you're out of playoffs? Is it just like you think you just have a lot harder of a week next week?
Yeah, and also Peace has brought back the bot lane duo, which is kind of scary. So they should win most of the games as well.
What have you learned from the last few times that you have gone up against Chiefs to potentially get the win tonight?
That's a hard question.
Oh, I've got to ask the hard ones.
I think the bot lane's really solid. They don't make a lot of mistakes for us to punish with, and then the jungle just gets outside ahead and the game becomes really hard.
All right, so yeah, definitely focusing down there for you. But Lived over on the side of Chiefs, you weren't as lucky. You guys didn't get a win yesterday. Do you think it's kind of maybe potentially ruined the team's momentum, or are you guys just as high spirits as you were yesterday?
Yeah, we're obviously a little bit sad because that would have put us in a really good spot that we won that game. But we're still just, as long as we place top 3, we're in a pretty good spot. So this game, I don't feel like there's much pressure on us. So.
Yeah, that's always a bit of an advantage. But I want to know from you, what do you think is going to be the key advantage for Chiefs in securing a win tonight?
I think overall, most of us have just a bit more experience, and I think we understand the game a little bit better. But I think the game will be pretty close. But I think we'll just slightly come out on top.
And the last question before I let you guys go is, we've had a lot of talk, a lot of people saying that this patch is going to be the Chiefs patch, but I want to know, because we didn't really get to see it yesterday, are we going to see it more tonight? Like, is this going to be, I guess, a better showing of this being the Chiefs patch?
Yeah, we might bring some stuff out. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I look forward to it. Thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck tonight.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Well, there you have it. So good to hear that there is more up the sleeves of the Chiefs that they may be bringing out to play tonight. I guess we'll figure that one out once we do jump into Champ Select, but it's not time for that just yet. Hold your bloody horses, ladies and gents. We got to talk predictions first. Now, a little bit of spiciness. Rusty finally lost a prediction, so does that mean that we're caught up? I guess we'll see when we're on the other page. But for now, Jubes, Elfish Guy, you've both gone for the Chiefs here. Jubes, why?
I think just across the board, they're a little bit too good. And I think that in best of ones, actually Chiefs are a lot harder to deal with than maybe a longer format series, just because there's so many niche picks that eventually get banned out, right? Like, Wraith has the Evelyn, the Kindred, and so many champions that do get targeted. That best of one format is just too hard.
Okay, what about you, Jordan? Same sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, Chiefs have, as I've said, been a little bit inconsistent of late, but I think as a general rule, they're just a little bit better than Gravitas are at the moment. If there was going to be an upset today, though, this actually could be the match that we get it in. I think that Gravitas is the team that probably wants this one more. I think it means more for Gravitas to get the win here than it does for the Chiefs. Like, Chiefs are already secured in playoffs. Gravitas still fighting for it, so maybe there's an element to say that Gravitas could come through with a win here. I'm looking forward to this game. I think the TLDR, though, is that Chiefs are just a little bit better, in my opinion. So.
There you have it. So you heard it here first. Nat, you've gone for Chiefs as well. You sort of thinking the same damn thing as them two?
Yeah, I guess there isn't too much more to say. Chiefs are obviously the favorite, but I've said in the past my favorite sort of gaming is angry gaming. Right below that one would have to be hungry gaming, and I think that's what's going to come out of Gravitas. I think they are going to take, I guess, more confidence, or they're just going to have more assertiveness in the way they play, because they're like, we have to do this for a win. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see if any spicy picks come through, because, ladies and gents, it's time for Champ Select for game number 4, the final game of the evening. Are Gravitas going to make this one happen, or are Chiefs going to put a stop to their little rampage?
Well, I guess it's time to find out, isn't it? We do have a pretty nice, spicy matchup to finish the day off. Gravitas really... I think I probably agree with Thomas Chen. I think they do need this win.
Yeah.
If they don't get it, they're going to be one win behind Peace going into that final week. Peace plays against Legacy at the start of next week, which is a matchup that you'd expect them to win. There is the Peace versus Order game later on in the end of the week as well, though. So maybe there's a world where Peace does drop one. You don't want to be leaving it up to that, though. You really want to be taking Destiny into your own hands, and Gravitas has the head-to-head against Peace, has the head-to-head against Legacy. So if they are able to maintain the wins coming through, then they're the ones that are going to go to the playoffs. We'll find out, obviously, if they can do it today against the Chiefs. Bans coming through thick and fast. Camille, LeBlanc, Viego. Not terrible bans away from Gravitas. Safa, losing the Camille. Kyose losing the LeBlanc. Viego, just a good ban in general. Does force Gravitas to get rid of the Gwen and the Tarm. Two very strong picks these days. And the Heimer targeting Emboma. So we've got Irelia and Sejuani Hover. Thoughts?
I mean, I was thinking that it would be an Irelia Sejuani angle for the Chiefs. I think that's just a hover from Safa to be a little bit cheeky and say, hey, we know what you're going to do type thing. The Nocturne picked up from Azus again. And it might just be, whenever this champ's open, it's going to be a Swathe Evelyn angle. I mean, it makes a lot of sense when you pair it with the Irelia, right? Like, there's a good damage spread. You got the ability power and an 80 threat in the mid lane. So in terms of the spicing up the mix, it is very hard to itemize. But again, I guess the one question mark you have is, like, Kisei's going to want to play really far up in lane on the Irelia. Evelyn's going to be wanting to fast clear to 6. So potentially we could see a little bit of damage done in the early game for Gravitas, even though they have the Nocturne, right? Nocturne considered pre-6 ganking jungler. A level 6. Yes, post-6, needing the ultimate. But the Tether is a very underrated gank tool, right? Especially in a champ like Irelia. It's very hard to survive. You have to burn the flash at a minimum.
And even then, sometimes when you burn the flash, it doesn't get you far enough away. That tether seems to reach half the lane. I think the Evelyn is a good pick, though, for Swaith, right? It's a champion that so far in the LCO has a 100% win rate when it's been picked. That's happened 4 times, and 3 of those 4 have actually come from Swaith. So he's been, you know, obviously very, very, very solid player on that champion. We do have the Rel coming through for Dragku as well, which is not a bad pickup either. Did just get a little buff coming through with the... I think the W cooldown got buffed in 11-15. Not by a huge margin, a couple of seconds, but hey, that gives you a couple of seconds extra leeway to work with in those fights, and we know Dragku does like that champion anyway. Kyose's gone back to the tried and true of the Syndra. So at the moment, we're starting to get a bit of an idea as to where these 2 compositions are looking to go. MacMate's looking pretty nice at the moment. Shout out to Mac, love that guy, having some dinner. Hopefully it's from DoorDash.
Thank goodness, that's all they were doing.
Yeah. Imagine, Juice.
I don't know
Imagine
what
if it accidentally cut to you.
I don't know what MacMate gets up to when he's not on camera. He seems like the type of guy to be walking around shirtless.
He probably does do that. Anyways, I'll leave that to the imagination. We do have the Ziggs ban coming through from Gravitas. Maybe expecting the Ziggs down there for Mboma, which, I mean, it could have come through. Definitely is an option, but in this game, when you've already got Swaith on the Evelyn, do you need the Ziggs? Do you need that AP damage out? It seems like they're really targeting Mboma, right? You've gotten rid of his timer already in the first rotation. Ziggs and Varus now for him. So, I mean, is this an Ezreal angle, right? It feels like that's probably the champion that he just defaults back to. Siva is there as well.
I wanted to see I wanted to see those 2 bans, the Varus and the Ziggs, because what it allows you to do now is flex the Syndra. Syndra can actually be played bot lane, right? Consider that an option. You know, it's not now, right? It's obviously a Kai'Sa bot lane, and we're probably just going to see an Ezreal response. I mean, that's pretty much the Mboma bread and butter, like made his name on the Ezreal. So wouldn't be surprised if we see that one picked up and just gentleman's agreement, gentleman's trade.
Thomas Shen looking for the Kai'Sa, which is not a bad pick at all, especially paired with the Leona, seen that a lot. And of course, it is the Ezreal in the end for Mboma. It seemed like the obvious choice. Definitely adds just that little bit of extra survivability and you know, the ability to sort of lane on his own again. That's always something that we sort of talk about for Mboma. He can hold down the fort while Dragku goes all over the map, does what he wants, does what he needs to do. With Rel, I can only imagine that he's going to be looking for those roams as well alongside the Evelyn. It is a Dr. Mundo that'll be going up into the hands of Lived.
I like the Mundo pick there because it doesn't make your damage spread, you know, AP focused, but what it gives you is a big beefy front line, and it allows like the players of Swaith, player like Kisei to really shine. It just gives them a little bit of breathing room to do what they need to do in team fights, to find flanks, to find angles, and then you just got Big Papa Lived, you know, pretty much fending off whatever he needs to fend off in the top lane. So I like that pick. Now something we haven't seen in quite a while. Obviously, you know, in recent patches, it seems to just keep getting nerfed and kind of just fell out of the meta. LCK is probably in Korea is probably the one region that still does play quite a bit of Nah, but they've always been Nah, you know, Nah lovers.
Aficionados.
Yeah, aficionados. But yeah, I mean, Safa, Nah, have we seen it? I mean, I'd have to get the stat man up again.
I'll have a look back and see. Not this split.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah. I feel like it had to have come through last split for Gravitas at some point.
And Mundo is like the type of champion that fares pretty well into like certain range matchups because, you know, Nah's or base auto attack range isn't that big. Yes, the hyperproc is really nice when dealing with champs that do build health, but in terms of being able to farm with the cleaver and really have an impact in lanes where you're outranged, and actually Mundo with the new E changes, when you last hit a minion, it knocks the minion body towards the person you're laning against, or rather wherever you're facing. And so you just have like these inbuilt tools to really deal with the range disadvantage that Mundo used to have.
Something that we'll have to sort of keep an eye on when we do get into the game, that top lane. I don't think is going to be the most volatile part of the map, though, I've got to be honest. I think this is very, very mid-centric, right? You got Kisei on that Irelia, Kyosei on the Syndra. Two champions that both are quite happy with, and for Swaith and Azus, they like to sort of hang around in mid as well. We know that, at least in the case of Dragku, he's really going to be wanting to roam and do some work with that rel. Is Floppy going to follow suit? Have to imagine the answer here is going to be yes. Find out how it's going to pan out.
The volatile part of this lane, and I'll cut myself off because I know there's a coaching team coming actually.
Well, might have to hold that thought for a moment, Juve. So I'm sure it's going to be quite an interesting one when we do get there. But it's time, as you say, for the coach interview. Velixis from Gravitas ready to have a chat with us. And, mate, this feels like a very, very important game for you guys. We spoke to Thomas Shen pre-show. It kind of feels like destiny's in your own hands, right? As Gravitas, you've got the head-to-head against Legacy and Peace. What are the, the thoughts, the feelings coming into this game? What's the mindset and confidence like for the team?
Honestly, pretty high confidence coming out of yesterday's game. I think we actually took it to Peace quite well. Chiefs, though, they have been slumping, so that is comforting in a sense, but they're still a good team at the end of the day. So we're still respecting them with respect that they deserve.
Yeah, most definitely, and I think that's fair enough at this point in time. A lot of bans targeted towards Mboma. Was that just how it sort of panned out? Obviously, we saw the Heimerdinger come through in the initial rotation, and then a couple more headed in his direction. I think it was the Ziggs and the Varus in the second rotation. So was that just, obviously because they didn't pick the ADC yet, or was it because you guys always wanted to target Mboma, make him feel a bit uncomfortable? Feels like he's got the Ezreal anyway, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like the mages are probably worse for our bot lane than like the traditional ADC, like in terms of just matchup knowledge. So that is part of the reason why we banned out the Ziggs and the Heimerdinger. But also, we weren't necessarily afraid of what they could pick in other lanes versus what Mboma could pick in himself. And the Chiefs do tend to just weak side Mboma, get him on these scaling picks and be able to do a lot of damage. Ezreal has also received some pretty decent nerfs in the previous patches, so he's in a much weaker state than what he once was, an Exodia of a sense.
Yeah, what are you guys looking for out of this draft, and what are you expecting out of the Chiefs draft coming into this match?
I'm expecting them to be finding picks inside with Evelyn potentially, but at the same time they want to Valia to team fight, so it's a bit of an awkward draft in my opinion. At the same time, we have a pretty insane go forward composition. They also want to come forward into us, so it'll just be about which team can get the first engage, and we should be able to. We have a Nocturne for that.
Awesome, and well, we've seen Leona have a pretty good day so far today, expecting that to potentially continue for you guys. Best of luck, and thank you again
thank
for
you.
the interview.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome, all right, let's see what we've got, Juves. We do have a little bit of a shenanigan going on in the jungle. There was a bit of invading here and there. Gravitas now down onto their opponent's red buff, but they're on top of a ward. Dragku is waiting patiently to jump over the wall. Nice smite from Azus, heals himself up, gets the red buff secured, I should say, but the fight might not well go the way of Gravitas. Good exhaust through, does make sure that no extra damage can come out from Gravitas, and in the end, it's a favorable trade for the Chiefs. It might get even worse. Yosei will walk away with the double buffs, and he can use that to really push the issue in mid, but that's really the main takeaway for Gravitas. They have to find something from mid now. Yeah,
obviously that's an advantage for the Chiefs, right? Coming off with 2 kills there. But the one thing I wanted to touch on, even before that happened, Gravitas used their level 1 to get vision on blue buff for Chiefs, and then they just did nothing with the vision. I mean, they really lost out in terms of. I'm gonna hold the thought because maybe there's a contest. He stays waiting. Kyosei hasn't purchased, so it wouldn't be a smart fight. But yeah, so they got vision onto blue buff. They knew Evelyn was starting somewhere else. They did not check their red side jungle, and they kind of just forfeited level 1 and said, take what you want, do what you want, and we'll react. And that reaction is ultimately what cost them in that early lane, or that early part of the engage.
Yeah. Up in the top lane, it is tit for tat at the moment. Bit of farm going either way. Safa obviously chugging on those potions, isn't quite having the best of times in the sustain game, but then again, who really does against Amundo? Especially one that starts with the Doran's shield. He's not going to be going anywhere too soon. Yosei with the double buffs, full mana, full confidence, full HP, just shoving the waves in over and over and over again, trying to make life as difficult for Kisei as possible. But this is really only going to last for so long. And I'd say even now the buffs are starting to time out already. So Kyosei is going to send it back to base here. How much money he's got in the back pocket? What can he pick up?
The problem with Aurelia lanes is the lanes are going well until they aren't. And like what that means is she just hits level 6. Then once she hits level 6, you're just always at kill range. You're always at lethal. If one stun ever lands, you know she's going all in, and like you can just tell by how Kyose is playing this lane. You can see the way that he's microing and the way he's like staying at max range every single time, because even at that, or how that level 3 or 4 played out on red side, Kyose still has that threat in this lane, and he's even up farm still.
It's up a little bit on gold, about 200. Not a huge margin just yet, but still definitely something to note.
Level 6.
It was a nice exchange up in the top side of the map for Safa when he did manage to go mega. But again, he's just been pushed out by Lived, and that insane sustain that Mundo has. He's still hanging on to a pot, so not working out too poorly for him. Kyose looks to force something into mid, does drop the ultimate down, gets the stun through onto Kyose, but it won't last very long. And TP in from Safa would have been better used up to the top side of the map. He's going to lose a massive wave now.
Yeah, that teleport for me was very suspect. Like, there was nothing even eventuating, right? It was just trigger happy, maybe a bit of nerves, but not a good teleport by any means. And Lived is having such a good time in this lane. I mean, again, did I guess the mental math, and now it just seems really short range into the Mundo. Like, he's getting outranged by the cleavers.
Yeah.
He's not having a good time. So Dragon going to be picked up by Swathe, and he's having a very uninterrupted Evelyn game. And this is why I say, and we say, like, ban Evelyn away from Swathe. Even if you don't think it's necessarily a good champion, he just gets away with murder in the early game. And partly because his team knows how to play with Evelyn, but he's actually just so good at Evelyn. Like, he's level 6, he's ahead tempo, he's actually got an assist to his name. Like, this is just free real estate. I mean, the Evelyn has literally gotten past the hardest part of the game.
Oh, here's a fight in mid, and that is the stun you're talking about. The ulti layered on top of it by Kyose forces the flash from Kyose. So, he's used his one get out of jail free card, and now the pain continues. That said, Kyose, a little low on mana, is chugging on a pot, but he's okay to just go back to base.
Now, I say this with the utmost... I say this... and I obviously... no, there's obviously counterplay, okay? And I'm going to make it sound like there isn't. But when Swathy's flash is up, Kyose is dead. Like, he can't play the game. Now, obviously, the counterplay to that would be just use pink wards. Put pink wards down and wards on his camps. There are ways to play around Evelyn. Invis does not mean unplayable. You can drop wards on camps. You can put pink wards down. So there's ways to survive. But again, you've got to be really practiced, and you've got to be a well-oiled machine to play against it. Yeah.
You make one little mistake, if there's like a hole in your ward, a gap somewhere, Swathy's going to find it. That's
a big pickup. That's a very big pickup. I don't think Gravitas had any business getting that dragon. They weren't in control of that dragon, that herald. They weren't in control of that game. They did sacrifice a little bit of farm for it, but I mean, they're going to get that back when they drop the herald.
Yeah, nice little rotation. One up from the bot lane. Floppy. What to assist.
Look at this. Look at Kyose now. He has to do this. Like, this is where he has to play. And I mean, that pink ward in lane there, it doesn't get you much vision. Because a lot of the time, Evelyn's ganking through lane anyway. So that's not going to spot.
Well, luckily for him, the wave is at least pushing in his direction, so he'll be able to farm up the majority of it. He's not falling too far behind. He wants to make sure that he doesn't push this wave out too hard either.
Here we go.
Here comes Swathe. It's hanging around. Flash available for Swathe. You're waiting for it. No, that's not where you want to be if your Kyose. Makes it very easy to hit the skill shot. But Swathe doesn't opt to go for it. And so, for now, Kyose survives.
He's done well to juke that. I mean, if that Aurelia stun lands, he's as good as dead. Might even just see a fight over blue buff here, and he might even get caught on rotation. The owner's not level 6. They're on vision bot side here too, so... Kyose might be in trouble.
Yeah, there is the ulti. He tries to do as much as he can. Swathe flashes forward. It was routine for the Chiefs. We've been waiting for it for the better part of, 2 minutes now. And ultimately, Kyose does succumb to the initial gank from Swathe. And so, it's another kill in the back pocket of Kyose.
You have to know, I guess you have to know who's going to be there. It is ultimately the only gankable lane. It is the most volatile one. So, you know, whilst Kiyose, I mean, when these two play, it's actually a nightmare to commentate. But, you know, maybe he just needs to call Azus for the hover, has the Nocturne ultimate, can cheat tempo a little bit to get there.
Yeah.
He's looking bot side here, but I think this is the wrong lane. This lane doesn't do anything, right? In the sense that, you know, I don't want to cast the curse myself, but it's an Ezreal.
Very hard to gank, yeah.
Yeah, Ezreal's so safe. Yeah, the lane's pushing towards Gravitas, but I mean, Mboma has flash, he has exhaust, there's double sums up. They're playing so safe. It really, you have to use this Nocturne ultimate mid. And I mean, it's just non-negotiable. The only volatile lane, the one that you need to sort out, the one that you need to give Kiyose a little bit of help to, especially because Kiyose has opted in for Merc Treads, and Swaif's just there every single time. And again, that pink ward, what does that do?
Not a lot.
It sees Swaif walking into jungle, but, and this is what I talk about, teams don't have experience against playing against Evelynn.
Well, Kiyose does a good job of dodging the skill shot, but hey, Evelynn is Evelynn, and she's going to charm you anyway. Azus locked up there as well after ulting forward with the Nocturne. And look who has walked down from the top lane. It's Liv, just to make sure everyone's safe. Floppy, it was a nicely timed roam from him, matching Dragku, but there was little that he could do.
Yeah. And if you're not going to get wards on camps this Eve, the best thing you can do is drop a pink ward in your lane. You see where that cannon minion is, where it just died? Yeah. You have to put a pink ward there. Then you're safe. But again, if you don't play against Evelynn, if you don't know how to play against Evelynn, just ban it. When you have an Evelynn player. But I mean, it's just a really good pickup from the Chiefs. I mean, they're playing the game extremely well. And this is what I guess our top 3, top 4, top 5 teams do extremely well. They identify volatile lanes, or the junglers, the supports, they identify the lanes that they really need to play around, and they just put down the pain on that lane. And that's what we're seeing here. Kiyose 4-1, straight with 4 assists.
Scary looking Irelia, isn't it?
Yep.
Already just bouncing around the place. Has Blade of the Ruin King finished off. 4-1-1. Oh.
I mean, it's solo bolo territory now.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Kiyose is hanging out for the Zhonya's, but I'm not sure the Zhonya's is even going to help him out. Regardless, he's so far away from that. Hasn't even built an item. Still, the fight is going to ensue. And immediately Kiyose gets blown up. Perfect target selection from Gravitas. There might be some wind in their sails after that.
Yeah, but they need to get something off it, right? 1 kill, shutdown, that's nice, but it's not enough. What can they get? They're going to get the dragon, and that's fine. It's not going to get them any, you know, it's not going to get them soul point anytime soon, but it's the little things. It's a nice pickup. They're not going to lose much topside. They didn't lose anything anywhere else, so...
Thomas Chen got the pickup, by the way.
Yeah, he did, so...
It's good news.
Yep.
He's got 1.6k sitting in the bank right now as he returns back into the bot lane, so he'll be able to finish off his mythic item and then probably the boots as well. It'll be a really, really nice pickup for him. It still doesn't feel like it swings things too much back in the favor of Gravitas. It helps, but it's not enough. This ulti... Oh! If Floppy didn't take that first hit, I think Thomas Shen dies.
Well, yeah, that and... he's just as good as dead, and we're going to commentate while he dies. But mid lane...
Nocturne ultimate down into the mid lane. Paranoia
he's dead,
has caught Kiyose, and Floppy's walked up as well. His ADC out of the lane, that's fine. Go help something else, and a kill over to Azus, who was struggling up to this point, but that should help out nicely. Some signs of life, some fight coming through from Gravitas.
But that's what I wanted to say earlier. Like, as soon as you hit level 6, why are we not seeing that earlier? I want to see the Aurelia really put... they can take that. I thought they could have taken that, but I mean, Ezreal is collapsing, so maybe not. Yeah. Level 10 onto Swaif.
Boma's already starting to put some pretty good damage down as well.
Yeah. But the thing I wanted to mention was that the game state is in, I mean, obviously with the gold D2, but it's in a very favorable state for Chiefs. Because if you look at how do they shut Aurelia down, it's Leona CC, it's Syndra CC, but Aurelia's got Merc Treads, probably got the Tenacity rune as well. So, I mean, when Kiyose dies in that instance, I think he's just limit testing, to be honest with you. I think he'll literally come out of game and just think, yeah, I was just trolling. I don't think there's a way that they can actually kill him if he plays the game properly.
He is using the Tenacity rune, fully stacked already.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't get CC'd at this point.
Yeah. Definitely got a good amount of Tenacity, 56%. So
No, you reminded me, but indirectly. The other thing I wanted to mention, but we're long gone from that, was the reason why I think Thomas Shen lived was because he actually was eating pots in that fight. That's
Right.
why
You always eat pots.
Yeah, always. The first thing my first coach ever in league always taught me was like, when you're fighting as a jungler, because you get like refillables at the start, just pop pots instantly, no matter what. And yet
So
the amount of
important.
times they save you is unreal.
I mean, it's 150 HP potentially, depending on how long the fight lasts for.
Yeah.
And so that can be quite a lot. It feels like it's not a lot when you survive on a sliver of HP, but yeah, it can be the difference, can't it?
Well, the first time it happens and you consciously realize you pressed the pot, it
Yeah.
feels good, man.
It does. Here comes another roam up from Floppy. He has been frequently visiting the mid lane. I think his position is kind of known. There was a ping that went down on that bush and now a ward there as well. So nothing to be done here. Kisei looks for a stun. If he hit it, Kyosei probably dead. Swayth is hanging around very close by. Kyosei still needs to be very careful, despite the fact that his teammates are also here.
I still don't know why there's not a pink ward in mid lane. I'm a little bit baffled. How can he keep getting away with this? At least make them work for the pink ward, right? Like, make them fight for the pink ward. Because if the pink's in lane, like, there's no real gank angle.
Yeah, Swayth can't be standing there if there's
No, this is criminal behavior. But now look.
Kyosei is surely going to have to flash, and he does. Solar Flare comes down, so too does Paranoia, but Liv has roamed down again from the top lane. Gravitas thought they had an angle, thought they had a fight, but the numbers are there for the Chiefs. And once again, it's the same, it's almost the same fight.
It is like, yeah, almost exactly the same.
You know, the Nocturne ult comes down, the Syndra's the one that's getting, in a sense, caught, and then Liv just sort of walks down from top, and it's again a 4-on-3 with Floppy coming up from bot.
And I mean, the rel's so good into what Gravitas have drafted, because Nocturne's going solo backline. There's no one to follow up. And this is why the pick itself, Nocturne, doesn't make sense in the context of the drafts. Because watch Dragku here. I mean, yeah, they reached a little bit forward, but it was pretty non-committal from Chiefs. And then watch Rel. No one's hitting backline. The Rel just completely denies any movement from the Nocturne, from the Leona. And I mean,
do you think that's a bit of a sunk cost fallacy for Gravitas? As I hold my thought for a moment here. Swayth actually might just be caught. That's really nice from Floppy. It's hard to lock down an Evelyn, and he has just about done enough. Thomas Shen surely dies to the Irelia here, and he will. There's a teleport coming through from Kyosei now, who will probably be able to do enough to keep his teammates alive.
Can he get Mega?
Just wondering if Lived is going to be tanky enough to just fully go straight at Gravitas. It seems like he is. Solar Flare does come down. Mega is there, but is it a little bit too late? Lived is just an absolute unit at the moment. He is not going to die. Safa will. A lot of damage coming down here from Mboma at the moment. And Kyosei, he does survive, but it's very, very costly. But it's going to be a dragon there for the Chiefs. And while we watch that, I do want to go back to it. The sunk cost fallacy, right? They used the flash from Kyosei to dodge the charm from the Evelyn. Then the Paranoia comes down just to provide a bit of extra safety. And they say, oh, we've invested so much into this fight. We're going to have to fight anyway. And ultimately, that puts them into a bad fight. Whereas if they just use the Paranoia and the flash, walk away from that, you go, okay, we lost some ultimates, we lost a flash, but it's not the end of the world.
100%. I think, you know how you say when you land the Lee Sin Q, you got to go in?
Yeah.
I think it's even more so with the Nocturne ultimate because the cooldown's so long. Once you pop the Nocturne ult, it's like, oh, well, I'm so committed for this play. And even ones where your mind's telling you no, your body just says yes. And you can't control it, honestly. You just go in. And then this type of situation arises, and I mean, it would be very easy and maybe a little bit of an injustice to the Chiefs to really question the draft that Gravitas have put together. But you have to kind of, I guess, ask the question about the draft and think maybe, like, you know, could there have been better picks? Because with the way that the game's played out, it does lead the question to think, you know, maybe Gravitas could have drafted a little bit better this game. But I mean, Swayth, Kisei, Dragku, and I mean, yeah, Liv, sure, he's 4-0-2 and had a blinder in his own right, but the action's really taken place in the mid lane, and Swayth, Kisei, and Dragku have been there for every step of the way.
Yeah, but I mean, I think on the topic of Liv, like, yeah, you say a lot of the action has taken place in mid lane, but he's been there. He's walked down from top almost every single time there has been a fight in mid. and I feel like been in a lot of cases the difference maker. Maybe the fight probably, let's be real, the fight probably still would have gone the way of Chiefs, but it wouldn't have been as clean as it was when Liv was there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he was taking up a lot of the damage. His body was in front, blocking a lot of skill shots and abilities. So, I mean, he's just finding the right windows and the right angles to go through. And again, like we questioned the Nar pick really in draft, didn't we? You know, what's the Nar going to do to stop this Mundo? And the answer has been absolutely nothing at this point.
And what are they going to do about the Mundo now, right? He's got Anathema's Chains, so that's an item that is pretty good on Mundo. And he's also just unkillable, really, at this point. Safa is taking so much damage. Briefcase puts him to bed. I mean, I don't see anyone killing this Mundo at this point.
No, you can't. No one can. And the problem that you have here now is that I believe Thomas Shen is going for a Wit's End, which is, I guess, okay in some instances. However, you're dying to the Aurelia anyway. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, pick your poison. And, I mean, he's decided that he doesn't want the Evelyn poison, but...
Oh, well, here's Paranoia from Azus. Nice follow-up from Floppy. Big shutdown onto Mboma. And Dragku only just gets out alive. That could have been so much worse for the Chiefs, to be fair. But I guess you'll take it, right? You kind of have to take everything you can get right now as Gravitas.
Look, shutdowns get you back into the game. Shutdowns are a very good source of income, obviously. And a good team will often just take the bounty, reset, and go again. Because there's more bounties to take, right? You know, in a world where they get the Mundo one, which I don't think will happen, but, you know, just hear me out, then all of a sudden, you know, that swings into a 1k, into maybe 1.5 or a 2k swing, and you're back in the game. So it's very good of Gravitas to get that, to back out, burn some summoners, and live to fight another day.
And Safa
got
solo kill
ultimate.
lived here.
No. Even if he uses the Nar ult, Mundo won't get CC'd because of the passive.
Yeah.
And then the lower you get with Mundo, you want to get really low before you use Mundo ult, right, with the changes.
Nice little snipe there from Safa.
Yeah, it was.
Like, in that situation, you almost want to be the mini-Nar, where you can just keep autoing and sort of stick to it. But,
yeah, dude, how many Nars have you seen that just miss out on a solo kill because they've actually gone to Mega?
Yeah. It was one of the things that, like, I've never been a top laner, but when I played Nar, I was like, oh, I don't know if this champ's for me. I almost prefer playing the mini-Nar than the Mega-Nar.
But back in my heyday, the Nar was on hit. It was just like full damage, like on hit, percent HP shred because it was tank meta too. And Nar was like the one champion that really just shredded the tanks. But then the amount of times I watch my top laner hit Mega right before the solo kill, and it's just so depressing.
Yeah. Well, either way, I'm not sure it was a kill angle for Safa, even if he stayed mini. Do have the Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, and that's where the Chiefs are headed. A lot of the important cooldowns coming back up for Gravitas after the kill that they got onto Mboma, who now does not have Flash. So maybe there's a world where they can get on top of him. I really feel like it's going to have to be, you know, Azus plus Floppy plus maybe one more to be able to kill Mboma at this point, whether that's Safa or maybe Thomas Shen ulting into the backline. Obviously, you have to question where does that leave, you know, the room for Swathe, for Kisei, if everyone's diving on top of Mboma. Well, but hopefully Gravitas can get something done in this fight.
Well, to be honest, if Mboma's the last one alive, you're probably happy. Look at that, there's just no damage. Like that's a full combo from a Syndra.
Yeah. Doesn't feel very good. I mean, you do have the Mercs Treads plus the Negatron Cloak on top of Kisei.
Oh my goodness, the Ezreal ult literally did more damage than a full combo from Syndra. But he's about to get Mega, and I don't know if this is the play.
Yeah, the Paranoia right on top of the Mundo. I mean, Mundo goes where he pleases, and I think Liv is probably just going to flash over the wall. The rest of the team follows. Thomas Shen thinks he's got enough damage, doesn't quite land the W across the wall. And there is a nice ulti in from Safa, but now Gravitas are up the creek without a paddle. Kisei ults over the wall, jumps over the wall, kills everyone, does everything. And Liv just walks away to live another day. Not even below half HP. And Mboma will get the final kill onto Kyosei. That feels like a force. It was dire straits really for Gravitas. I think they just wanted to get something. They wanted to do something. They wanted to feel like they had control of some moment of this game, and it hasn't worked out for them.
Yeah, that was definitely an overreach there from Gravitas. It was well disengaged from Chiefs, but I mean, you know, it's hard to say this was well set up from the Chiefs, right? This was just merely a reaction. Liv just taking Mundo to the absolute limits, going where he pleases, pops the ultimate, lives through the ignite, and then Dragku just lands such a good Magnet Storm, and it's just cleaned up. It is just absolutely cleaned up. Faith with his Evelyn mechanics there, really nice getting the charm flash Q, ulting backwards, getting in on the back end, Kisei as well, and then Mboma over the wall. So again, it's not something that was really set up from the Chiefs, but I guess if you wanted to break it down, it was from how well they've been playing the whole game. 13k gold lead now.
Yep. Baron buff to boots. And an extra Dragon buff goes in their back pocket now as well. So they're threatening Soul in 3.5 minutes, which is not really going to be something that Gravitas is able to contest, I dare say. Swathe very close by. Kyosei thinks, you know, he's got a little bit of a spider sense tingling there, but he'll be able to walk out to safety. Won't be able to get the blue buff though.
That's crazy to me.
Advantage.
That's crazy to me that your Ezreal doesn't get blue, but the Evelyn does. I don't know. I just feel like Evelyn has a passive that can be utilized in stealth. And
Yeah,
really...
This is Swathe we're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Right. This is the guy that literally walked to the bot lane and took a cannon. Like, not even...
Yeah, he did. I
Remember, it wasn't even like
yeah.
a gank, I don't think. He just literally walked down, took a cannon and walked off.
But in his defense, Faith's defense, maybe he's closer to level 16. Maybe that's the XP he needs for 16. And then you'd say, sure.
I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable in this situation. And Boma, you know, he's fine. He's doing so much damage anyway. Like, it's much of a muchness really who the blue buff goes on to, but it does show you a bit of the tendency from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Anyway, mid tower.
Here we go.
Focus of fire. We are going to see the flash from Mboma. Nice lockdown from Floppy, but where is the follow-up? Finally, we get it. Kyosei does get the kill onto Mboma. Is that a turning point in this fight? Floppy eventually drops. Kyosei and Thomas Jen, I mean, they desperately need help, but Asus and Safra are going to have to go back and clear the waves. Thomas Jen, he's not going to escape Dragku. He's not going to be able to outrun him. Maybe he can kill him.
Guys, I promise Mundo's taking damage this fight. I promise you he's taken some damage.
Thomas Jen doesn't have any summoner spells.
Here we go.
All right, he's going to try and make something happen, but let's be real. There was no chance for him. He was a walking corpse at that point, and getting solo killed by Irelia under the tower is not good news.
It's not good news at all. I mean, I'd have to take stock again, but I believe it's about a 3-level lead in the mid lane to the top lane. There's just EXP leads across the board, and I mean, it is a very uphill battle for Gravitas now. And that's my optimistic tone. It's what, 14, 15k. They're about to lose another turret. They're about to probably lose a mid lane inhibitor as well. And I mean, if you're a Gravitas fan, this isn't a bad engage, right? They're making the best that they can in the situation that they're in. You know, they pick up 2 kills, and it's 2 important members. But I mean, it's just death by 1,000 paper cuts here.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate where Kyosei and Thomas Chen ended up like they were split away from their front line. Not that there is a massive front line for Gravitas, but at least if Saf is there, maybe he can provide some presence for Thomas Chen to play behind. Unfortunately, not the case really today for Gravitas. Again, like we said, they kind of have to take what they can get. But the problem is they have to invest so many resources to even get that kill onto Mboma that by the time they've gotten that kill, they're just like I said, they're kind of up the creek without the paddle. Yeah. You know, there isn't really anything else that they can do.
I've been in that creek and it's not a good one. I'll tell you that much. I can't tell you what's in there yet, but not a good one.
No. What about a Mountain Soul for Chiefs? You know, if we're talking about an unkillable Mundo, let's just give him a Mountain Soul as well.
Why not? I'd love to see Mundo with the Soul anyway.
He has got the Elixir of Iron on as well, so if we do take a look into that bot lane where he's about to head towards the inhibitor, you're going to see a very big Dr. Mundo.
I would love to see him just go for a 1v4 angle.
By the way, 512 damage is the shield on Liv.
Okay.
So another 500 HP.
Yep.
That's fine.
I'd love to see it. Just please get hit. I guess that's a bit. That's a little bit. Like, we're not taking his ultimate into account, right? But I guess it's some.
Yeah, but for how long? You know, he's just going to sit here and heal it back on up. Well, there's the engage from Asus. Floppy again following suit. They're trying so desperately to get these kills, and they do eventually get one onto Swathe, but here comes the rest of the team. Nice Nah ulti from Safa. Doesn't keep his team alive long enough, though. Kisei is in the back line doing whatever he wants, and inevitably Safa will fall as well. Thomas Shen, I mean, he can farm the creeps up. He can have the creeps. I don't think they're going to care about that. He dodges the true shot barrage, and Boma, a little bit sad about that, I'd say. But overall, the Chiefs are going to be able to pick the game up. It was pretty routine, pretty straightforward for them. No funny business. They get the job done this time, and the Nexus will fall 30 minutes into the game. Gravitas will go to 7-12, which puts them 1 win behind Peace's record at the end of week number 8, which is very big considering there's only 1 week left to go. Peace might well still be able to swindle their way into playoffs as a result. The Chiefs, of course, more or less securing their place in third. I think we do have a matchup next week between Chiefs and Direwolves, so there may still be something to say about that, but it's going to take some pretty mighty work from Direwolves next week, going up against Order and Chiefs to overtake where the Chiefs are right now. But it is possible.
Yeah, definitely. And Mac and Mates, what did you think of that one?
Sorry, that was me.
No,
Who
you're
is
right.
and Mates, by the way?
I don't know. To be honest, I like the way it rolls. I like the way it sounds, and I just did it.
Aren't we the mates?
I'm sure you've got a lot of mates.
Yeah,
You're Mac and we're the mates.
I guess if you're referring to it in like that third person whole sort of business, then maybe that's true. Maybe that is what's happened. Now, other than you guys spotting me having a little bit of a nibble on a carrot, I did watch the game. So I did get to watch this game. It was very fun. It was very exciting. Swathe as well, providing the goods there on the Evelyn. Gravitas not learning and getting ganked multiple times. So hopefully in the future, if Gravitas do have to play up against a skilled Evelyn again, they will buy more pink wards and just, place them around the lane to try to survive that little bit longer and not get ganked. And yeah, it didn't look like the Gravitas that we've seen recently, but it was more so that Chiefs were just outplaying them at almost every single point of the game. So Chiefs playing a spectacular game to get this W on the board, punishing Gravitas for going for these hard engages so many times, and everything just went right for them. So Chiefs definitely deserving this victory today.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a pretty good statement game from the Chiefs too, right? But this is what I would call their bread and butter composition as well. And I think that, heading into what is the business end of the season, if we're not already there, this is kind of what you want to see. It's a very good Chiefs bounce back. And we did see a few tweets from their players about, not being happy with recent form, but they've got to be happy with this game.
Yeah, 100%. Even if it was a extremely large lead, that's almost that 20k gold lead again. So good to see that one coming through. Rel, of course, picked up, which is one of the champs that was affected by the recent changes in terms of the buff. So good to see that having a bit of effect there in the hands of Dragku. As well as that, look, on the other side, we did get to see that Nocturne again. Usually that's relatively successful for Gravitas, but today just didn't seem to be their day. And of course, Safa unable to play what I would say is one of his more favored champs. On the Nah, he's probably had a couple of good games, but I only usually remember him on the Camille, and it was good to see that got banned. So Gravitas kind of losing out on their comfort picks for a few of the players there. However, someone that's always comfortable is Nat. So let's bring Nat back into the conversation. Oh, how was that relaxing, restful game watching that one, Nat?
Yeah, good. Absolutely no stress or anxiety at all there for Chiefs. Absolutely none.
Super stress-free. Now, let's see if anyone's living rent-free. You got an interview?
I do. I am going to be joined by Swathe for this post-game interview. Thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations on the win. How are you guys feeling after that win?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's pretty happy with it, especially after yesterday's loss. It's good to get a win back on the board. I would say it's expected, and it gets us closer to, I believe, walking third, which is sort of where we're supposed to end up at the end of the split. So it's expected, but it's nice to finally be able to translate, I guess.
Yeah, of course, it always is nice to get a win. I guess I want to know, what do you think is the biggest difference from yesterday compared to today?
Honestly, I would just say the enemy team skill. Maybe that sounds rude, but I think Order are significantly better than Gravitas. So they were the better team yesterday. I think they drafted better. I think they played better. And today, I wouldn't say necessarily like we played better, but like we probably did, and we probably had a better draft too. So I guess that helps. But yeah, order were just like pretty good, I would say.
Did anything surprise you in that draft coming out from Gravitas, or were they things that you guys were expecting and had prepared for?
If anything, I was surprised just by like a lack of like spice in their comp. Like usually, like I would think of Gravitas as like supper centric, like putting all the resources on him, like trying to get him on a carry, trying to enable him, especially if you're picking a jungle like Nocturne to pick sides. But putting him on like more of like a bruiser tank initiator, it didn't really seem their style. So I just think maybe they could have a bit more success if they played around him.
You know, it seemed that you guys were, I guess, really strong in that early game. You never really seemed to ultimately falter at all during that game. But why do you think that you had so much success in rotations and whatnot against Gravitas?
I would say our comp was just a lot more stable today. Like we really only had one person that could be like in trouble against their comp, and that's Ron or Kise on Aurelius. So as long as like we were able to protect him from Leona and Nocturne, then we were pretty safe in that game, I would say. So we just kind of played to do that and like counter their obvious play with Nocturnal, and yeah, it was just pretty easy besides that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, like I already said, had a pretty flawless game, got that win, knew what you had to do, and succeeded with that one. So thank you so much for joining me, and congratulations again on the win.
Cheers, man.
There you have it. Good to hear from Swaith as well on all the things going on there in their opinion, and that they are finding the form that they want to hit. You know, going into playoffs, it's always a good time to find it, right? Now, player that delivered. I think we've all seen who it is, and I think we've all agreed as well that, of course, it is the big man up top. It's lived again. Throwing his fist into the air, extremely excited to get another $100 DoorDash voucher and probably spend it on Subway yet again. 9-0-8, not dropping a death at all. 60% kill participation, and of course, just chattering away on the phone all game. What an annoying man, Juice.
I know this is going to kick up a little bit of a stink in Twitch chat because Dracu is honorable mention and definitely could have got the player that delivered as well. But I think when you have such an influence on a tank champion top lane, like it's not often top laners really influence the rest of the map until a certain point in the game. But Liv was just always there as well. And I think that is just a testament to how he's played but evolved. So in this game, I do think he really delivered.
Just doing exactly what he needed to. And, you know, as the Mundo is sort of there, and you just take damage. And you mentioned a few times during the cast, yeah, that Mundo did actually take damage, but he's already bloody healed up. So there's just so many times where he just mitigated that much damage in those team fights and just made it that much harder for Gravitas to get any of their plans to work. So he really was foiling a whole damn lot. Now,
I was going to say, just quickly, I will say one thing towards Chiefs, especially like when I talk to them in interviews. I've noticed that, you know, compared to last split, they knew what they had to do, but they couldn't necessarily execute it. Like they knew who to play around, all that sort of stuff, but couldn't always translate it into games. But you see them this split, they know what they have to do. And I guess I'd say 8 times out of 10, they're always doing it. They've come a long way in their execution for playing.
Yeah, doing just a very good job and improvement overall as a team throughout both splits this year. So having a very good year. And hopefully it gets better for them because we're not even at the playoffs just yet. However, we are getting towards the end of today, which means it is time for another play of the day. Now, get your thinking caps on. Did you forget what it was?
No, I don't know. I don't know why I laughed. I don't know.
You just
He's scared. He's going to
laugh because I know what's expected of me. If I want to have a chill night, I know I can't have a chill night because I'm expected to be that guy. So I'm firing up.
Beautiful. I was going to say, you don't have to choose. You don't always have to do what everyone expects.
I got it. It's expected. Now the people want it. The people pay for it. They buy tickets. So it's fine.
Oh, I didn't notice the whole time. You've been wearing that shirt, but I just didn't figure out what it was. I got that too. That was the GG Easy one when they sold some stuff when first lockdown happened, right?
Yeah, I support business, small business, every business. I'm a businessman.
Good man, good man. Now, of course, play of the day. Have we thought of any plays? Do you remember what happened today? Sometimes no one remembers.
I think I have one. I don't know if it's going to be the play, but for me, I mean, obviously the Pentanet versus Order game, I feel like it has to come from that. And for me, it's probably that last fight where I'm pretty sure it was Puma. He got like a 3K, right? I think there was a 2K with a piercing arrow, and then he gets a 3rd kill in that final fight as well. So for me, that's probably the one.
Maybe. It could be. What about you, Juice?
Can't remember. 4 hours sleep. Feeling a bit iffy. Can't remember.
Okay.
To be honest, haven't even eaten dinner. Don't even know.
I'll jump in here. I think it's definitely from the PGG order game as well. If it's not, I'll be surprised. And I guess my backup option is in the Legacy Direwolves game. But I think it's definitely going to come from the PGG order game.
Well, you got the game right, and you might have got the play right. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it is a 4-man ult near the Baron pit coming in from your boy Diana, or your boy Kevy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this one. Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
How could I
yeah,
forget?
yeah.
It was so beautiful. He waited so long. You could see it. It was coming. It was coming. Look, it's right there.
And here it is. Oh,
Look at the
blammo.
zooming.
Amazing. Beautiful done.
And the
Beautifully
music.
done.
Are you ready, Juice?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
So we got Kevy basing here. Oh my god, he's gonna leave the team. He's dogging the boys. He's not a boy dogger. And is it a full moon? Because look at the moonfall coming on through. Guess what, baby? Chaz is hit by the eclipse, and he's gone back over the wall. And that's a triple kill to Puma. It's absolutely been stolen away. By the way, I didn't even realize it was a triple kill to Puma. That's absolutely scumbag maneuver. Kevy, well done, champion. Well done.
The setup, absolutely
Setup.
beautiful.
It's all in
You
the
seem
setup.
really offended now.
You know, well, because you know how they say it's like all in the hips when you dance. It's all in the setup. It's all in the setup.
It is.
I just laugh because you guys advocated so much for Puma
Nah. I'm a
to get the player that delivered, and now you're all like, oh, that was actually Kevy.
This is the problem with big corporation. It's the little guys that get forgotten, right? And the little guys like myself and Kevy, we've been forgotten.
You care too much about the stats.
Sometimes it's the big guys that get forgotten. You said it's all in the hips and dancing, mate. That's coming from Happy Gilmore. It's for putting, all right?
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Remember that, all right?
I
Because
say
otherwise you'll have a bad swing one time when you're playing golf. I know you're an avid golfer, Jubes. Now, that brings us towards the end of the day, but let's have a quick look at the standings, the updated ones, where all the teams are currently sitting at the end of what was a crazy day. Order are up there with Pentanet 14 and 5. At the top of the ladder, we almost had no ties, but there is still some ties here and there. You got Gravitas and Legacy tied for 6th, Order Pentanet tied for 1st, Chiefs cleared 3rd, Direwolves cleared 4th. At the moment, Peace are that 5th team that could be making playoffs if they get 2 more wins. That'll happen because Gravitas now need to hope that Peace cop another L. Legacy have to hope the exact same thing if they want any chance. And Peace are probably extremely happy with the position they are in after all the games are done today. Mammoth still dead last with 1 and 18. Couldn't get that second win on the board that they wanted. But Jubes, tell me, any surprises here?
yeah. I'll say I'm gonna say every week I get asked. Peace.
Peace.
Oh yeah. Nat, I don't know. Can they hear Nat? Nat literally did my voice and mimicked me. If you didn't hear it. But no, yeah. I mean, Peace kind of control their destiny now, right? Which is the good thing for them. But also, don't Gravitas control their destiny too because they still burst Peace? So I mean, it's still all up in the air. It's all too close to call. What an exciting finish! What an exciting finish it is.
It's
it really is
Legacy
going to be a
versus
photo
Peace,
finish.
by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't want to do any spoilers because we will go over schedules, but I think the fate of Peace could actually be decided on Tuesday. Yeah, if we look at the... I mean, I don't want to take Max job here, but whatever the
Well,
next segment is
you
that
wouldn't
Max
wanna
going to
do that.
introduce.
Wow.
I
I
wouldn't
wonder
do
what the
that,
next
personally.
segment is. Maybe if anyone's watched the show this deep before, maybe they were already have known it was coming. But it is coming, and it's the schedule. Wow. Crazy. Who would have thought? Okay, 6 p.m. next week on Tuesday. Order and Direwolves are going to be going head-to-head. Let's see how both these teams' form is running into the playoffs for them. That's going to be a great banger. 7 p.m. Peace and Legacy, as you mentioned, Jordan and Nat, that could be a decider because if Legacy win 2 more in both the final games of regulation next week, then it's their turn to go into the playoffs and have a bit of a shot. Peace will be knocked out. Gravitas and Mammoth going head-to-head at 8 p.m. This should be one of the easier games for Gravitas, hopefully, and a must-win if they would like to make it. There's still a world where they can. And at 9 p.m., the Chiefs and Pentanet, which is going to be a top-of-the-table banger to close out the night. So I am extremely excited for pretty much everything going on Tuesday. It felt like for so long, a lot of the games were like, oh, this game kind of doesn't mean a whole lot for X and Y. But now we're getting to the end of the season. It's like almost every single game that remains has huge impact in what could actually happen. Or it's just a bit of a trendsetter as we're going into playoffs. So I'm keen for that. Jubes, what one are you most keen for out of those matches?
I think it's the PGG one. Just because of what happened. what happened today? They want to put that one behind them. But I mean, you have to say, it could be playing on their mentals a little bit come end of season. So, I mean, they want to get the cobwebs out. You what is it? You live and no, there's no lose, there's learn.
Live, laugh, love. That's what you're looking for. Juice.
Whatever.
You
Yeah.
live and you learn.
Don't single me when. Don't single me when I'm making mistakes. Don't single me when I'm making mistakes. When I can't talk.
This is when I would literally just have you on the
I
single.
know. I thought they were gonna do that. Oh, he's done
Not
it to
me.
me.
That's the wrong one. There you go.
Hey, oh wait, no. You know what they did? They thought you look like me, but I'm me.
They made you
I'm me. Yeah.
I will
Did you
say-
take the jacket off during the evening just so you and Jordan looked a little bit less the
No,
same?
he never had a
I never had a jacket on.
Didn't you?
Because I got to get these guns out.
Just gonna show off the tat.
Oh,
I got that one. I
that's
had
going to be
hide
a
that.
gift.
Had to hide that. Didn't want to get terms of service for these bad boys.
I will say that the game I'm most looking forward to is the Mammoth Gravitas one, because we've seen Mammoth beat Gravitas already this split. And if Gravitas lose this, and I guess we could say Peace of favorites going into the Peace Legacy game. So we assume Peace wins that one. So if Gravitas lose to Mammoth again this split, that's it. Peace locked in. So I think that's definitely going to be the game everyone should be tuning into.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I certainly hope they're all damn bangers, and I reckon they are going to be. Well, a good way to end the night as well is by ending the night and saying see you later and see you next Tuesday. That's it for the DoorDash LCO for Week 8. Thank you all for watching. I know lockdown's been a little tough on everyone, so make sure you're staying healthy. Keep yourself in check. Talk to everyone you need to. And look, we love you dearly. We'll see you next week.
That was a longer bye.
Tally does get baited to go in on Tenecta, but who really is the one getting baited at this point in time? Mammoth, they thought they had the catch. They thought they were going to get Tally, but instead he turns it back on its head, gets himself a double. Glacial Fisher doesn't quite connect onto Praetor. Now Puma might be under a bit of pressure. Decoy gets in there deep, but he's on his own. Chaz and Praetor just a bit too far away to make a difference. Maximize ticking away. The Luden's proc gets it done. Maximize doesn't quite get what he wanted to there. Flashes forward, and it might be the flip once again. Order. This is not the fight they wanted, but Kevy dives in, forces a couple of stopwatches out. Now, which way does this one turn? Puma, piercing arrow, double kill, gets 3 for himself in the fight, and now Chaz is looking to defend solo. I think this game's done. Those are the Nexus towers going down in the blink of an eye.
That's a story for off-broadcast.
Ordinarily, that would be a really nice bubble, but there's just too much money for Direwolves and too much counter-engage as well. The artillery barrage, look at the damage from Zera! That is unreal. That is 2 ultimates. Just down onto style from the Zera, and he's pretty much dead. Liv is probably just going to flash over the wall. The rest of the team follows. Thomas Chen thinks he's got enough damage, doesn't quite land the W across the wall. There is a nice ulti in from Safa, but now Gravitas are up the creek without a paddle. Kisei ults over the wall, jumps over the wall, kills everyone, does everything, and Liv just walks away to live